Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Eze from ME Studio. This is the channel where you get the best tutorials on Moho on YouTube. You use Moho for your 2D animation, you use Moho for your digital production. Right here in this channel, we dish out the best videos for Moho. So the first thing I want you to do is, of course, to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so that you can get notified once I release a new video. And you can also like my video and share the video. The link to download the exercise files for this particular tutorial will be available. I'll leave a link to download the exercise files in the comment section below. So you can click the link in the comment section below so you can get these exercise files and follow along in the tutorial. Also, I will put together a complete course on everything that has to do with head rotation, body rotation, object rotation, hand rotation, leg rotation. I've put together a complete course on that, and the link to get this course is in the comment section below, guys. All right, so every month I pick a subscriber at random, the person who has subscribed to my channel and has also left a comment in the comment section below. Right, so every month I pick one person and I give out either my character pack or my Moho tutorial. I give them out for free. So subscribe to my channel and leave a comment in the comment section below. So let's get into the video, guys. Okay, so welcome guys. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to create an object rotation just like we have in this tricycle. All right, so as usual, we'll start with a new blank file. So I'll just come to file, start with a new file, okay? All right, so there are four things that you need to get acquainted with when it comes to 3D rotation in Moho. The first thing is your understanding of how to use bones. Secondly is your understanding of how to mask layers and vectors. Thirdly is your understanding of how to make use of actions, smart actions. And finally, how to make use of animated layer order. All right, so in this tutorial, I'm going to be explaining how to make use of all those in creating an object rotation. All right, so let's start from our layer window. I'll fix this into a group. Then I'll call this my tricycle. Right, so the first thing I want to create is the tire. So I'll call this my front tire, FT for my front tire. Okay, I'm going to convert this into a bone layer, and then secondly I'm going to enable animated layer order. So I'll just click these three dots here. On the depth sort, I'll enable animated layer order. Right, so on the front tire, I'll just create a simple tire. It doesn't have to be very nice. So I'll make sure my tire is positioned right at the middle of my workspace. All right, so I'll make sure I'm drawing from the middle of this cross here. Right, so I'll hold down Shift and Alt so that I can have a perfect cycle. Okay, I think this is good enough. I'll draw a few more. Draw one, then I'll draw two. Okay, I think this is okay. So I'll click my select layer tool, select shape tool, select this, then I'll change the color from my star window, change it to somewhat black. I'm going to differentiate the outline, so I'm going to bring the outline a little. Right, so the middle part also I'm going to change it to somewhat black. Right, I think this is good. Change this outline a little. Right, so I'll use my transform points tool, click Ctrl A to select all the points. Then I want to randomize the width, the size of this width. So I'll come to random width. All right, I'll make this like let me drop this to like 20. Then I'll randomize. I just want the width to be not to be uniform, so that's why I'm randomizing it. I'll change it to like 400. Okay guys, I think this is good enough. Or let me still do that. I think that is too much. Right, change it to 200. Right, so we'll just be working with this. So this is going to be our tricycle set tires. Let me open this little. It's going to be the tire. So I'm going to add a point here, a curved point, add one point here, add another point here. I'm going to use my curvature tool to straighten this out, straighten this. Okay, doesn't really have to be perfect. Straighten this. Alright guys, so that's it. We have our tricycle tire. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get into my 3D rotation of the tires. Okay, Right, so to do that, I'm going to add my first bone. So click the add bone tool, select the tricycle layer, and I'm going to click. So I'm going to call this bone my tire torn. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make smart bond up. I want it to be 180 degrees on both sides, and I want it to elapse for 96 frames. Separate actions for positive and negative angles. Yes. Now click OK. As usual, Moho will reorient my bone, which is what I don't want. So I'm going to return this back to 180 degrees, right? And I'm going to have to make a few corrections. I'm going to complete this. So it's 180 degrees and 96 frames. And for the other side, it's going to be 180 degrees and 96 frames, okay? 180 degrees in 96 frames. And guys, make sure that all your keyframes default interpolation is set to linear. Okay, so we have this 180 degrees on both sides. Okay, let's start with the first tire turn. On the 48th frame, I want my tire to be facing the direction that my bone is facing. Okay, all right, so I'm going to come to my tire layer. I'm going to select Ctrl A to select all the points. Use the transform points tool and squash this completely. Okay, so let me return back to frame 0. I'm going to select just these points here, these ones. On the 48th frame, I'll select my curvature tool and I'm going to pick those points alone. Okay, so we have this. And then at this point, I'm going to select the reset for the points I just selected on the 96th frame. And then for every other point, I'm going to reset, and I'm going to for the transform point tool, I'm going to reset as well. Okay, so this is what we have. So on the 48th frame, I'm going to be making some adjustments. I'll select my transform point tool, pull this out a little. I'm pulling out the points I added, just the points that I added. Okay, so I'll just pull all this out, push this. We're basically trying to sell the illusion that we had a tire rotation. So let me make a few more corrections using the curvature tool. Doesn't really have to be perfect. Just when you think you're satisfied, you can let go. Okay, so I think this is good. Right at this point, I'm going to make a few more corrections. Maybe I'm going to pull this in. Right guys, it doesn't really have to be fancy. So I'm going to copy all these keyframes. Ctrl C to copy. On the 72nd frame, I'm going to paste. Ctrl V to paste. Okay. So I'm going to make just one correction on this. On the 48th frame, I've added keyframes. On the 49th frame, I'm going to select. Okay, let me go back and select just this point, just this, just the wheel. Then on the 48th frame right here, I'll push them all the way to this side. Okay, so we see we have this. Oops, let's delete this for now. Okay, so we have this. Okay, so right here, I'm just going to have to, yeah, I'll just correct this. Okay, so you see we have it right there, guys. We have our tire rotation. All right, so at this point, I want to align this in the middle of this cross. On the 48th frame, 49th frame, I'm going to align it as well. Right, so just to show that we have a tire rotation. Okay, so let me push this out a little. Okay, so that's it, guys. We have our first tire rotation. Okay, so for the second part, um, for the other parts, what we can do is to still go back and make the adjustment that we made in the former action here. But instead of doing that, we'll just come here and copy all these keyframes. Just copy everything here. Copy, come to the tire turn, the second part, and then paste. I'll just click Ctrl V to paste. So you see, I've pasted everything. The only thing I need to make is that on the 48th frame, right here, I'll just move this, alternate the position of these wheels, and on this side, I'll alternate it to this side on the 48th frame. So this is what we have. So I'm going to remove all the keyframes for this tire. Remove the keyframes here, all right, so that we have okay, so that's it, guys. Let's check to be sure that our rotation is working well. So we have this. Isn't this wonderful, guys? So these are simple tire rotation. Okay, so let's proceed. Next thing I would like to do is I want to create something I call a grid. I'll call this a grid. This is my grid. All right, the purpose for this is so that I want to be able to position this tire at certain specific parts of this my workspace. So I'll just create this and I'll make it 4 by 4. It's okay. I'll just draw a grid. All right, so this is my grid. I'll select the shape selection tool. I'll hold down Shift and select every single part of the grid, holding down my Shift key. Select every single part. Then from here, I'm going to turn off the fill, and then the outline, I'm going to change it maybe to white, or rather let me just change it to red. All right, then I'll increase the size so I can see it better. All right, so now I have a grid that I can work with. Okay, next is my tire. I'm going to select the transform points tool, and then I'm going to scale it down. Right, so I'm going to position, this is going to be my front tire, so I want it to be right at the middle of this cross section here. Right, so I'm going to make 2 duplicates, 1 and 2. Okay, let me just work with 1 for now. So this is I'll call this my rear right tire. Okay, the rear right tire. So I'm going to move the rear right tire all the way to this point, position it right here. Again, the purpose for this is so that I can know the position. I can have a specific position for the tires. Okay, right, so I'm going to make another duplicate of this. This is now going to be my rear left tire. Okay, so let me change the color of the tire. I'm still going to change it back to black, but let me change the color of the tire so that I can be able to differentiate the different tires. So the rear right, I'm going to change it to red. The rear left, I'm going to change it to let's say yellow. Okay, so these are my tires. So let me test once again to be sure that everything is working fine. Select the manipulate layer tool. Right, see, my tires are all functioning perfectly. Okay, all right, guys. So the next thing we're going to do is to now get into the rotation, not just the tire rotation, but the rotation of the entire tricycle. So to do that, I'm going to select my tricycle tool, my tricycle group layer, and I'm going to add a new bone. This bone, I don't want it to be parented to any bone, so I'll hold down Alt and click any empty space. So to deselect. So right now I'm going to just draw a bone. So at this bone, I'm going to call it the body tone. Right, so as usual, I'm going to make my smart bone dial. I'll just click Shift Q on my keyboard. I think it's a shortcut I created myself. Right, so 180 degrees on both sides, 96 frames. Right, so as usual, I have to reorient this, turn it back to 180. Right, so because I want my bones to be facing the direction that I want my tricycle to be facing, just like we have here. See, my bones are facing the same direction as my tricycle, so that's why I'm handling this. Okay, so because of the reorientation, I have to make a few more corrections. So I'll correct this, come to the second part, and I will correct this. Okay, so everything is perfect. So for the first body turn, on the 48th frame, my bone is facing directly downward. So, okay, all right. So on the 48th frame, let me just go all the way to the 98th frame. Sorry, I mean the 96th frame. So on this frame, I'm also going to turn my bone, my tires to face this direction. I'll do that for the other parts. On the 96th frame, I'm going to turn my bone all the way to this side. Okay, 96th frame. Right, you see my bone and my body rotates same way. Okay, so let's return back to the first. On the 48th frame, right now I want my bones to be facing forward. I want my tricycle to be facing this direction, just like we have here. Right, so I want my tires to be facing this direction, so let's do that. So I'm going to come to my front tire, FT, use the transform layer tool. I'm going to move her all the way to the middle. Okay. I'm going to change the position of this because I want my rear tire to be on top of my right tire. Okay, so on this 48th frame, I'm going to move the left tire, the rear left tire. I'm going to move her all the way to the middle, just somewhere at the middle of this square. The rear right tire, I'm going to move her all the way to this point. All right, so that we have this. Okay, so make sure all your keyframes are set to linear. Set to linear. Set to linear. Right, so on the first frame here, my front tire should be on top. I want my front tire to be on top. So that right here we can see that the front tire is in front of the two back tires. Okay, can we see, guys? Right, so go all the way to the 96th frame. On the 96th frame, I'm going to move my front tire to this position. My rear tires, I'm going to move both to this position, to this position. Okay, so we have this just for our tires. Okay, now you can see there's an issue here. Right here, my yellow tire is behind, but right here I want my yellow tire to be above. All right, so on the 48th frame, I'm going to move on the 48th frame, I'm going to move the rear right tire above the rear left tire above the right. Just exchange the position of this so that at this point you can see that the black tire is now behind. Okay, guys, that's how we get our first rotation. Right, so having done that, the next thing we'll work on is okay, on right now, guys, as you can see, everything is working fine, but I need to make a change. You can see I don't want this, my tire turn, I don't want it to affect the back tires as well. So let's look at this. Okay. All right, so right here you can see that this only affects the front tire. All right, but this affects all the tires. All right, this affects only the front tire. So we're going to also do that here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to transfer the keyframes for this back tire. As you can see, there are keyframes within these two actions for the rear tires. For the rear tires, there are keyframes there, which is what we don't want. We don't want this bone to control these tires. This bone shouldn't control these tires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the keyframes from here for these two tires, and I'm going to paste them only for the body turn. Okay, so to do that, let's select the rear left tire, open this, all the keyframes here. I'm going to cut, then I'll come to the body, and I'm going to paste. Okay, next, let's do it for the second action as well. I'm going to copy all the keyframes from here. I mean cut all the keyframes from here, and then for the second body turn, I'm going to paste, Ctrl V to paste. It's as simple as that. Let's do that for the rear red tire as well. So come to the first, cut all the keyframes from here, cut, and then for the first body, I'm going to paste. Right, I'll do that for the other parts as well. For the second tire turn, I'm going to cut all the keyframes from here, cut, and then come to the second body turn, and then I'm going to just Ctrl V to paste. Okay, so right now guys, if we should check, we would see that the tire turn only affects the front tire, while the body turn affects all the other tires. So even in front here, we can still turn this around. Okay guys, so the final thing we're going to do is to also work on the second body turn. So for the second body turn, you can see our tires are not yet moving. So on the 48th frame, I'll move my front tire all the way to this place. Okay, so the rear tire this time I'm going to move to this place. You remember for the body turn, for the first body turn, the yellow tire came to this is at this point, the black tire is at this point. So for the second body turn, the black tire on this side and the yellow tire on this side. So just fix it here. Okay, so here we move our front tire again to just this middle, and then we'll reset our tires, back tires, to this point. Okay, so we have this. It's as simple as that, guys. We're only going to do a simple animated layer order. So I want my front tire to be all the way to the bottom. All right, so I'm going to pull my front tire to the bottom. Okay, on frame 1, pull the front tire to the bottom. So you can see the front tire is behind. Front tire is behind. Front tire is behind. Okay, so one last change is right now we want the yellow tire to be on top of the black tire. As you can see, it's behind it. So on the 48th frame, we'll just simply exchange this. All right, exchange this, and then that's it, guys. We're done with our tire placement and rotation. Okay, so I'm going to just turn off this grid, and I'm going to save my document. Save. I'll just call it my tricycle. All right, so guys, the next thing we're going to work on now is going to be on the tricycles. But all right, guys, so I'll just quickly create the body of my tricycle. All right, this is going to be a fast video. I'm going to try to fast forward it, so just watch closely as I create the body. Okay guys, so this is like the left side of my tricycle. So this is the left side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of this and call this my right. Okay, so this is my right. For the tires, my right side is above the left side. So for the back, I'm going to pull the left all the way to the bottom. I mean, for the body, I'm going to pull the left all the way to the bottom. All right, so guys, that's the left and the right side. Okay, so let's quickly get into our object rotation. So let's first click the body rotation. Right, so on the 48 frames, guys, we're going to do something. This is my right side. Let's start with the left side. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to squash. Let me turn this off. Right, so I'm squashing this completely. Right, and then I'm moving it all the way to this point. Okay, so we have this, and then on this point I'm going to reset the squash, the scale, reset the scale. Okay, so this is what we have. Also on the 48 frame, I'm going to just flip, make a simple flip. All right, so you see I made a flip here, it's not even noticeable. So this is what we have. So here I reset the scale and the position. It's as simple as that, guys. So let me do that again. On the 48 frame, I squash it completely and I move it all the way to this side, and then I flip. And then on the 96 frame, I'm going to reset the scale, reset the position, and then we have this. Okay, so this is it, guys. All right, so on the 48 frame, let me do something. I'm going to make a duplicate. The left, after doing the squashing, and that's when I'm supposed to make a duplicate. So let me make a duplicate now and I'll call this my right. So my right is above the tires. Can you see the tires, guys? It's right above the tires. So let's get back to the body tone. This time, the right side, I'm going to move the right side all the way to this point. All right, so that's it, guys. That's how we start our rotation. Okay, so let's make sure this is above the tires, right above the tires. So we have this. Okay, guys, so now let's work on some animated layer order. You can see our shapes are all well ordered. Right here, the ordering is okay. So on this point, at this point, first I'm going to exchange the position of these two. So I'm going to bring the left all the way to the top, then bring the right all the way to the bottom. Okay, so this is it. We deleted the keyframe for the rearrangement of these tires, so we can rearrange the tires as well. So you can see, guys, both the tire and the shapes are all well positioned. Okay, okay guys, that's it for the first rotation. So what we can start adding in now is let's add our the back of our tricycle. Or let's start with the front. So I'm going to add a new shape, and I'm going to call this the front. I'll just fix it into a group, then call this my front. Alright, so this is the front part. So on the front part, I'm going to draw. add a called point somewhere here. Right, so that's good enough. Let's push this out. Okay, so I'm going to color this same as here. Okay guys, so the next thing we're going to do is remember what I taught us earlier on how to make a hole through an object. So I want us to bore a hole through this object right now. So the next ball, to do that, I just want us to fix the glass. So to do that, I'm going to draw another shape, the shape I want to use as the glass. So I'll just draw a rectangle in here. All right, so this is our rectangle. I'm going to select Ctrl A to select all the points. Then I'll click this create shape tool. As you can see, Moho has highlighted the outer part and has left the inner part not highlighted. So I'm going to create a shape. Right now this is already a hole, so I just have to delete this. Use my select shape tool to select the inner part, delete for the first one, select again and delete for the second one. So right now you can see we have a hole through our object. Right, so what we're going to do now, okay guys, after drawing that, next thing we're going to do is to enable masking for this front layer. So I'll double click, hide all. So right now this shape right here is my mask. So on top of it I'm going to add I'm going to add a new vector. All right, so on this vector layer I'm going to just draw a square, right? And then I'm going to draw the square that I'm going to use as a glass. So this is supposed to be my glass, guys. So we have this. All right, so on this mask I'm going to select, on this I'm going to select all the points, Ctrl A to select all the points. All right, remember this is our mask, and then this is just two rectangles that we drew. All right, so remember how to bore a hole through an object. Let me not don't mask this so that we can see it better. So this is two rectangles that we just drew. So we want this inner part to be a hole through this object. All right, so we'll select Ctrl A to select all the points. Now we'll click our create shape tool. All right, so Moho has just already highlighted this part to be the glass and this part to be the body. Okay, so I'm going to click create shape. Then I'll use the select shape tool to select the inner part, delete for the first time, and then delete again for the second time. All right, so you can see now we have this as a hole. All right, so if I should select it and move it around, you can see it's a hole that we have right here. Okay. All right, so next thing we're going to do is to enable our masking once again. So go back and say mask this layer. All right, so this our mask, we're going to set it to add to mask, keep invisible. All right guys, so you can see we have a hole through our object. All right, so this is very important because when we're going to be doing 3D object rotation, you'll see how important this is. Okay. All right guys, so let's get to the body rotation once again. All right, so on the 48 frame, I'm going to ensure that my front is still at the top. Right now I'm going to just rearrange my mask. So I'll select every part, pull it out all to this place. I simply just want my mask to fill up this space here. So I'm holding down the shift key to ensure that it's moving uniformly. Alright, so you can see my mask has filled up. And I'll also select my shape that I created. I'm going to push it in out to this point. Right, and then I'm going to select all this, just this point, and pull it out. Okay, so this is what we have, guys. Okay, I want my front tire. My front tire should be all the way to the top. Okay. Alright, so on the 48th frame, guys, I'll just flip my front. Remember how we did it initially? I'll just flip it just once. Flip. the entire group layer, and then on this 48th frame, I'm going to select each of these and then click reset. Select every part, Ctrl A, and click reset. For this, I'm going to select all the parts and click reset. Alright, so see, we have these guys. Okay, let's proceed and let's fix in the back of our tricycle. So the back is going to be somewhere here. So somewhere here, I'm going to create a new vector, and then I'll fix this vector into a group, and then I'll call this the back. All right, just like as we did before, I'll just create a simple shape. A simple shape, and then I'll push this in. Okay, let me turn off every other thing above so that we can see just our simple shape that we just created. Right, guys, so just like we did earlier, I'm just going to bore a hole through, click a hole through, so that that will be the glass. Right click, select every point, then click enter to bore a hole. Delete this, okay. So I'm going to just push this up, Ctrl C, Ctrl V to duplicate this, bring it down. I don't want this, so this will be the same color. This will be the same color as the top, so I'll just drag this and select this. Okay, so it's as simple as that, guys. I'll pull all this in. I just don't want them to be visible yet. Okay, so that's it, guys. Let's work on the rotation. Select my action window, select my tricycle, still on the first body turn, push this in on the 48th frame. I'll select my back. Alright, so I want my back to remain behind all through, so I'm going to still pull it down here. Okay, so at this point I'll just select this, and like we did earlier, we'll push everything in. Then I'll just drag this out. Okay, let me move this so that this will just look like the window. So this is just my window from behind. Okay, just like we did earlier on the 48th frame, I'll flip my back, just flip, simple flip. Right, on the 96th frame, I'll select this, hit Ctrl A on my keyboard, hit the transform point tool, and reset everything. So we just did the back of our tricycle as well, guys. So we have the front, we have the back. Okay, one more thing, let me just change the color of change them to all black, because we are done. Alright, so that's it. We have our tricycle rotating. Okay, so next we can work on, guys, is we can start working on the other tire body rotation. Alright, so on this body rotation we still have a lot of work to do. All right, so we'll get into. All right, so let's work on the other side. To do that, let's double click the second body turn, and then we select the tricycle, open it up, and select the right side of the tricycle. Just like we did for the other side, we're going to be squashing it. So select the transform layer tool, and then we'll just squash this completely. All right, and then we'll move it all the way to this side. Let's turn off the front. All right, we'll do that for the left side, as well. We squash it completely, then move it over to this side. All right, so at this point, we're going to flip the left side and flip the right side, make a flip of both sides. And then right here, we're going to reset the position and the scale. All right, so we'll reset both the position and the scale. Do that for the left side as well. All right, to do that for the left side as well, reset the position and reset the scale. Okay, so we have this. All right, so we see you have these guys. Okay, so we're going to work on some layer ordering. Let me turn off the back for now so we can get the left and right side correctly. Okay, so on the first frame, we're going to let the right side remain on top. Okay. And then on the 48th frame, we're going to take the left side all the way to the top and bring the right side all the way to the bottom. All right, so that's it, guys. Let's work on the back, or the front rather. Let's start with the front. Okay, so for the front side, let's work on the mask. So pull it all the way out, just like we did initially. Push this out, push this out, push this out. All right, so right here we're going to use the transform layer tool and flip, and then at this point we use transform points and reset. Select all the points and reset. Okay, so let's do that also for this part. Use the transform points, push this out, drag all these points out. Right, so right here we're going to flip. Just going to make an arrangement on the 47th frame. Okay, so right here we'll just reset this part. Okay guys, so there's one thing I'm going to do. Inside my front layer, this part of my front layer, I'm going to make a duplicate of this. I'm going to call this the out. Then I'll call this the in. Alright, so I'm going to explain what I mean, what I'm trying to achieve here, right? So first, the inner part, I'm going to change the color, make it darker. Okay, so let's return back to the body tone for the character. Right, so right now, instead of for the outer parts, I'm going to remove all the animation for the outer part. Right, so I'm going to remove all the outer parts, the animation for the outer. All right, so right now all I'm going to do is I'll use the transform points tool. Now while we are rotating, I'm just going to push my outer part, the outer, just going to push it out. Okay, let me make a few adjustments to this, to my mask. Okay, so guys, you see the outer, the out, you can see it's moving out completely, right? It's moving out. So right now I'm going to remove the flipping for the inner part. I don't want to flip the inner part, and I don't want to flip the mask. At this point, I want to flip the entire front layer. Flip the entire front layer. Right. Then at this point, I would reset the outer part. So I'm just going to reset here. Okay, so this is what is happening. As you can see, we have the inner showing and the outer showing. Right. Let me repeat what I just did. What I did is I made a duplicate of the I made a duplicate of this layer. I called one of them the inner and I called one of them the outer. The inner one, I just reduced the color. I made it darker. So if I should turn off the outer, the out part, you can see that the inner part is darker. Okay. So while we are rotating, instead of the outer part to be adjusting to fill up this place, instead it is pushing out in this direction. As you can see, it's pushing out. Right, then we had a flip. Our flip is going to be, instead of on the individual layer, the flip is rather on the entire front layer. Okay, so you see we had a flip, and then right here we're resetting everything. Okay, all right, so let me make one more adjustment to the tire. The front tire on frame 1, I want the front tire to be all the way behind. Okay, let me just move every other thing above. Select all these layers apart from the front, and I'm going to move it up. So it's everything is on frame 1, everything is above the front tire, so that the front tire can show behind. As you can see, it's right behind. Also on the 48th frame, I'm going to push all this, make sure the front tire is all the way behind. Okay, so you see it's right here. Okay guys, so that's how we have achieved the front part of our tricycle. Right, so the next thing we're going to work on is going to be the back. So let's turn on the back layer, open it up, select this. All right, so at this point, I'm just going to use my transform point to drag everything out to this place. Reset. Okay, so on the 48th frame, I'm going to flip the entire layer, and then at this point, I'm going to use the transform points and reset. Control A to select all the parts and reset. Okay, so guys, what we're going to do is on the first frame, we're going to push the back all the way to the top. Okay, no, all the way except for the right. Okay, except for the right tire. So we moved it just above the right tire, all right, so that we can see the back of the tricycle. So right now the back is visible. So on the 48th frame, we're still going to push the back all the way above the right tire, so it's right here. So guys, we're going to need to make some cleaning. Let's clean this up. So that's it guys, at least we have something that looks like a tricycle. So that's basically it, guys. That's how we make a 3D rotation of our tricycle. So let's go back and test everything that we've worked on. Test it on frame 1. So you see our tricycle can rotate the front and back, front and back, front and back, front and back. All right, so that's how we have our object's simple tricycle rotation, okay? And you can see the tire can as well rotate front and back, okay? So I think the final thing I can work on now is to add the chairs. So let's go ahead and add. I think once we are done adding the chairs, we are done for with our tricycle rotation. So let's add the chairs just like we have here. Right, so we can add chairs, maybe add a few more details. But I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to be skipping the details. Right, so I'll just add the chairs and the light and everything. Like I'm going to exclude those. Okay, so let's add the chairs, guys. So we're going to locate the point where we want our chairs to be positioned. We want our chairs to be positioned above our right tire here. So here I'm going to click and then add this into a group. Then I'll call this my chair. Okay, so right here, before that, on the right layer, on the right, let me just add the division here. So I'm just going to create 2 rectangles, one from here to here, then one from here to here, right? So this, I'm going to color it, make it the same color as this. Then this, make it the same color as this. The outline should be the same as this. Okay, so this is okay. Maybe you can just work with this. Of course, if you're working on your own tricycle, maybe make it look a little bit better than this. Okay, so let's copy this. Let's copy this. Copy, Ctrl C to copy. Then I'll come to my left, select this, then I'm going to paste it here as well. So we'll have it on the left and on the right layer. And the fun good thing, guys, is as you can see, we don't have to go back and work on what we just pasted. You can see that they are already responding to the squash and stretch, because the squash and stretch was done using the transform layer tool. Okay, so guys, let's get into our chair. Right, so let me work on the front seat first. So I'm going to call this my front. Call this my front seat. Right, so on my front seat, I'm just going to make 2 shapes. And maybe I'm going to convert this to a square. Make this big. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, get another. I'm going to just put this right here, make it smaller, maybe. Maybe I can just change the color, make it red so it can stand out. Okay, so finally let's just add the base. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we can just add the base. I'm going to select with the select shape tool, holding down Alt. I'm going to click the down arrow to move it all the way to the back. Then I'll change the fill to this, change the outline to this. Or maybe I can just tone this down a little, just so it can stand out. Right, fair enough. I think we can work with this. Okay, so we can work with this. It doesn't necessarily have to be very fancy. I'm going to make a duplicate of this. Make a duplicate. Call this the back. I'm going to use the use the transform the transform layer tool to move it all the way to the back, bring it to somewhere here. Okay guys, that's it. That's basically how we have our front and our back seat. So next thing we have to get into is the rotation. Okay, so for the front rotation, I'm going to turn off the back seat for now. Turn on the back. So we're working on just the front. Okay, so I'll select the transform points tool like we usually do, and I'm just going to adjust this to sit in the center. I'm going to just pick this by clicking Ctrl P on my keyboard, open this up a little, and then I'm going to put it in the middle. I'm going to bring this all the way to the middle, and I'm going to open it up. Open this up as well, just so it can look like a seat. Let's push this up. Let me select all of them, putting down Alt to scale them equally on both sides. Okay, so this is what we have, guys. We have this. Seems like this is going higher than it should. Okay, so this is what we have, guys. A little higher. Okay, so as usual on this point, I'm going to flip the entire chair layer. Flip. All right, so on this point, I'm going to select this, Ctrl A to select all the points. From the transform points to, I'm going to reset everything. So we have this. Okay, I should reset the curvature tool as well. So let's reset this so that our seats will look nice. Okay, so that's it, guys. So let's work on the back seat. For the back seat, select the transform point tool, and then on the 48th frame, we're going to select every point, bring it all the way out. This, let's start with this. Let's scale this completely. Of course, the back seat is supposed to be wider than the front seat. So I'm going to pick this, Ctrl P to pick it, and then I'm going to make this bigger. Drag this out. Oops. Drag this out all the way to this point. And I'm going to drag this out as well. Let me drop the curvature so that it doesn't look too high. Drop this, drop this. Okay, so right now, guys, you can see that there is no difference between our front and back seat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the brightness of this. Maybe I'm going to turn it down. All right, so right here you see that our front and back seat, the colors are different. Okay, so on frame one, I'm going to, first of all, let's enable animated layer order for the seats. So let's enable this. So on frame one, I'm going to push the front, the back seat. The front seat is supposed to be in front, so you can see right here. So our front seat is in front. Right, so right here I'm going to reset using the transform point to select everything and just click reset. And also for the curvature tool, click reset. So we have it that we have our seats. Alright guys, so it's as simple as that. So for the other carton, all we're going to do is to transfer the keyframes from the chair. For the front chair, I'm going to copy all the keyframes here, copy. And then for the second body turn, I'm just going to press Ctrl V on my keyboard. Oops. Right here on my time frame, I'm going to press Ctrl V. Let's do that again. From here, we're going to copy everything. Copy. And then on the second body turn, I'm going to press. I'm not supposed to be having that, so I'll just add a keyframe. Then I'll press paste from here. Then I'll delete the keyframe I just added. Okay, so we have this. All right, good. Let's also transfer the keyframe from the back seat, copy, and then from here, I'm just going to click anywhere. On frame 1, I'm going to click any part of this to add a keyframe. Then on frame 0, I'm going to return back to frame 0. I'm going to paste what I just copied. Then I delete the keyframe I added initially. Delete it. All right, so we have all this, okay? So on the 48th frame, we're going to flip the chair. Flip. All right, so that everything is back to place. And then you see we're having a little bit of error with the seats ordering. So let's work on that quickly. So on frame 1, our chairs is supposed to be behind the back. All right, so you see what we have. Okay guys, I think we've done it. We have our tricycle rotating. Okay, so that's basically how you get your tricycle to rotate in 3D. So I'm going to leave a link to download this exercise file in the description below. So just click the description below to get the exercise file. So we're going to be stopping here for now. No need for us to add the details. Of course, we've gotten the idea how to do all those. So if you want to add the detail by yourself, you can go ahead. I'm going to leave the link to download this completed tricycle. So you can just download it to learn how everything works out. Okay. So at least you've gotten the idea, guys. So that's how you do your 3D rotation for your objects. Thank you for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So please make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so that you can follow us on future tutorials. And if you also have a specific area of Moho that you want us to cover in an upcoming tutorial, you can also leave that in the comment section below. And you can follow the link in the description below to get to my store and find out all the exciting products I have on Moho. I have a complete course on 360-degree rotation on Moho, so please pick up that course. I so much recommend it for you. And also I sell other Moho assets and character packs, everything to make your journey with Moho very much easier, right? So please ensure you follow that link in the description, ensure you leave your comments in the comment section, and ensure you like this video. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Please look out for our future tutorials that is coming up very soon.